Imagine a bright October morning in the rugged wilderness of the Colorado Rockies. A 3-year-old boy named Jaryd Atadero is walking a few dozen feet ahead of his group on the Big South Trail. He's energetic, talkative, and completely unaware of the perils that surround him. At one point, he stops to chat with 2 fishermen by the river. His voice is clear as he asks them a simple, innocent question. Have you seen any bears? The fishermen smile, tell him no, and watch as the toddler turns and walks back up toward the trail. They assume his group is just around the corner, but within seconds, Jaryd enters a pocket of silence. When his father's friends reach that exact spot less than a minute later, the trail is empty. There are no screams, no sounds of a struggle, and no tracks leading into the dense brush. Jaryd is simply gone. To understand why this case is considered an anomaly, we have to look at the environment. The Poudre Canyon is a place of extreme beauty and extreme danger. At the turn of the century, a group from a Christian social club decided to spend their weekend hiking the Big South Trail. Jaryd's father, Alan, was busy managing his business and allowed Jaryd to go with close friends, adults who promised to watch over him like their own. At the entrance of the trail, a massive sign warned visitors about the presence of large predators like cougars and bears. Yet as the group moved forward, they became separated into a faster and a slower-paced group. Jaryd, full of toddler energy, was bouncing between the two. The witnesses who last saw him, those 2 fishermen, are the key to the timeline. They were only 50 to 80 feet away from the rest of the group. Jaryd walked toward the group, disappeared behind a slight bend in the trail, and in that tiny window of time, he vanished. When the search began just minutes later, the area was treated as a simple lost child scenario. But as the sun began to set and the temperature in the canyon dropped toward freezing, the realization set in. Jaryd wasn't just off trail. He was missing in a way that left no physical signature. The response was massive. Local authorities, volunteers, and eventually specialized military units were brought in. A Huey helicopter from a nearby Air Force base scoured the skies using thermal imaging and high-resolution cameras. Divers moved through every nook and cranny of the Poudre River, fearing the boy might have fallen in, but the mountain seemed to fight back. During the search, a tragic accident occurred when a helicopter crashed, leaving a member of the rescue team with severe injuries, including broken vertebrae and a deep gash that exposed bone. It was as if the terrain itself was becoming hostile to those trying to solve the mystery. Perhaps the most disturbing detail from the initial search involved the tracking dogs. These were highly trained animals capable of picking up a scent days after an event. Yet when they reached the spot where Jaryd was last seen, the dogs became confused. They wouldn't trail into the woods. They simply circled the area, suggesting that whatever happened to Jaryd didn't involve him walking away on his own 2 feet. There was a theory at the time that Jaryd might have been the victim of an external party, a responsible party, who could have snatched him and carried him out of the canyon. But the sheriff's office was adamant. Abduction was nearly impossible. There was only one road in and out, and every car had been accounted for. So the official narrative shifted to a predator. But if a mountain lion had taken a 35-pound boy, where was the blood? Where were the drag marks? The search was eventually called off, leaving a father with a hollow heart and a trail that was officially dedicated to his missing son by an act of government. For 3 years and 8 months, the Atadero family lived in a state of suspended grief. They didn't believe in moving on, they believed in moving through. Then, in the early summer of a new season, 2 businessmen on a hiking trip stumbled on something that changed everything. High above the Big South Trail, In a region of the Comanche Peak wilderness that is described as rugged and inaccessible, they found a brown polar fleece sweater. Nearby were a pair of blue trousers and a pair of small Disney Tarzan sneakers. These were the exact items Jaryd was wearing on the day he vanished. When investigators arrived at the scene, they were stunned by the geography. The clothing was found 550 vertical feet above the trail. For a 3-year-old to reach this spot, he would have had to perform a climb that would challenge an experienced adult athlete, all while moving through dense, thorny brush that should have shredded his skin. But the mystery deepened when they examined the clothes. The Tarzan sneakers showed virtually no wear. They weren't scuffed as if they'd been dragged by a predator, and they weren't worn down as if a 3-year-old had been walking miles through the rocks. Think about that. Sneakers named after a jungle hero, found on a cliff no human child could climb, yet they looked brand new. Even more chilling was the state of the trousers. They were found turned completely inside out. The right leg was missing, but the rest of the fabric was relatively intact. A human molar and a piece of a fractured skull were found nearby, eventually providing 100% DNA confirmation that this was indeed Jaryd. But the physical evidence didn't provide closure. It provided a new set of terrifying questions. The official consensus remained that a large animal, likely a mountain lion, was responsible for the tragic loss of Jaryd. But experts on big cats have voiced strong opposition to this theory. A mountain lion typically attacks the soft tissue of the stomach first. If a cat had taken Jaryd, his sweater should have been torn to shreds in the abdominal area. Instead, the sweater was found largely intact. Furthermore, how does a predator unzip or remove a pair of trousers and turn them inside out without damaging the fibers? And why would it carry a child 550 feet up a near vertical slope, past hundreds of easier hiding spots, only to leave the clothing in a relatively open area? Forensic experts note that it is not unusual for scavenger animals to move remains, but the missing 411 patterns observed in Jaryd's case are eerily consistent with hundreds of other vanishings in our national parks. These patterns include a high-altitude location, a proximity to water or granite, a sudden change in weather, and clothing found in a state that suggests it was removed by something with manual dexterity, not claws and teeth. Jaryd Atadero has spent years looking for the truth, even writing a book titled Missing: When the Sun Sets. He has openly criticized the way the investigation was managed, suggesting that the focus on a predator theory was a way for the authorities to avoid the more uncomfortable possibility of an abduction or something even more inexplicable. As we look at the Big South Trail today, the mystery of the inside-out trousers remains a jagged hole in the fabric of our understanding. Was Jaryd taken by the mountain itself, or was he a victim of a responsible party so sophisticated that they could move through the wilderness like a ghost? The Jaryd Atadero case is more than just a tragic loss. It is a reminder that our wilderness is not a playground. It is a sovereign territory with its own, often brutal rules. It reminds us that despite our satellite technology and our thermal imaging, we are still remarkably vulnerable to the shadows of the Earth. What is your theory on the Atadero case? How did those tiny sneakers end up 550 feet above the trail without a single scuff? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe and hit the bell to help us shed light on these hidden archives. And if the impossible climb of Jaryd Atadero is unsettling, you need to see our investigation into the Bermuda Triangle, secret files of the underwater Area 51. Watch it right here. The archives are open. Stay curious. I'll see you in the next mystery.